Welcome back to my Lobotomy Corporation bedtime story reading. This is Hitori, and I'll be helping you fall asleep with some ambient audio and awesome OST from our favorite game, as I learn more about Lobotomy Corporation's abnormalities. In the last video, we read about the burrowing heaven. This time, it will be the dream of a black swan. This is now the 55th abnormality in Lob Corp reading. Check the entire playlist on the card on the upper right of this video. Let's begin. Dream of a black swan. F-02-70 is a group of siblings consisting of 6 brothers and 1 sister. The brothers are human boys with short blonde hair and blue eyes, who wear black nettle shirts with a green necklace holding a gem in the middle, along with black pants and orange shoes. They are the only ones standing inside the containment unit. 5 of them stand at the front, while the 6th brother stands behind them at the center. Ability. Its ability will trigger when their Qliphot's counter reaches 0. Dream of a Black Swan has multiple ways to reduce its counter, and when the counter decreases, the physical appearance of one of the brothers will change depending on the condition met. Each brother has a unique transformation. Possible changes include losing their eyes, their lower face melting into a green slime, and losing their legs, revealing the smiling brother behind him. All of the following methods reduce their counter by 1. Each condition will only deplete the counter once, meaning all the 5 must be activated individually to breach. By getting a normal work result with the abnormality, 5th brother. By getting a bad work result with the abnormality, 4th brother. Each time 5 employees die, not counting deaths by execution bullets, 1st brother. Each time 5 employees panic, 2nd brother. Each time 3 abnormalities breach, 3rd brother. When the Qliphoth counter is reduced by other means, such as by Crimson Dawn, or the big and will be bad wolf, a random brother will be selected to transform. These are not limited to happen only once. Once the Qliphoth counter of the abnormality is depleted, the sister will appear somewhere in the facility. She appears similar to a large goose or bird-like creature with a black feathered body, wearing a neckline like her brothers. The neck of a bird ends in what seems to be a beak, revealing the head of the abnormality. She has gray skin and smooth blonde hair, similar to her brothers. Her head composes of 2 heads fused together at the eyes, giving her 2 mouths and noses and 3 eyes. She has feathered arms with gray hands and dark wings, and holds an umbrella with an orange stripe handle and black feathers. She has 2 orange striped humanoid legs The sister has moderately high HP at 1,500, average movement speed, and roams the facility smacking other employees with her umbrella, dealing 5 to 8 red damage at close range. She can open her umbrella and move forward with it, deflecting damage taken at her front back to the attacker. If she passes near another Abnormalities containment room and it possesses a Qliphotep counter, it will drop by 1. If it reaches 0, it will trigger the ability of said abnormality, leading to more breaches or other events. After she takes enough damage, the beak will close and she will change to be more like a swan. Her attacks remain the same, but with a new addition. She will stop to let out a screech, dealing 30 to 45 white damage. She will remain in the facility until suppressed or when the day ends. Story: Elijah had a large family to provide for. Her impoverished parents would always say, "Although we don't have anything to pass on to you, we have the most valuable treasure: honesty and diligence. This may not be of great help to you now, but they will make all of you happy someday." One day, a dense fog covered the city. The hazy fog, thought to be a natural phenomenon at first, didn't dissipate even after a few days had passed. Some claimed it was making them feel nauseous or making them retch, but most people thought nothing of it. A lot of people continued to work and go about their days in the fog. Of course, Elijah was one of those people who had to be okay with it. She was the only family member with a proper job, and the inheritance of poverty had left them in huge debt. Elijah had several brothers, but their roles were broken after being faced with several failures. Elijah was always tired, but she thought if she just worked a little harder, things would work themselves out. Just like what her parents used to say to her, and just like in fairy tales. Just like that bird who eventually spread its white wings and became the envy of all. Some people left the city to escape the fog. They said the city was done for. Elijah didn't listen. Elijah felt queasy at times. She felt her whole body blistering. Almost there. Just a little more. If she held out just a little longer, the clothes made of nettles would be complete. And if she threw them to her brothers, she once stuffed dearly, then the days when her family lived harmoniously could be restored. One day, on the way home after work, she bumped into a pedestrian running at full speed. Though the pedestrian who crashed into her was at a full sprint, he was unable to get back up. So she offered him a helping hand, asking if he was all right. He slapped her hand away and got up on his own. The pedestrian took a few faltering steps before collapsing again. The man seemed like he was running away from something. He seemed worried that Elijah would hurt him. Elijah tried to ask him what was wrong. However, the pedestrian opened his mouth first. The simple act of opening his mouth seemed labored, so she patiently waited for him to talk. The pedestrian didn't open his mouth to speak. He began to vomit a mixture of blood and waste. The gooey mixture poured from his mouth at first, then it gushed out from his nose, ears, and eyes. If he hadn't been expelling from all of his orifices, then Elijah might have tried to help him. Elijah thought. She heard a shout in the distance. She left the vomiting man behind and started to walk slowly. What happens when the black swan wakes up from dreaming of a white swan? There were many people amidst the fog, some screaming, some laughing, some wielding clubs, some curled up, bodies covered in wounds. Dark, wet, and fetid dregs were scattered all over the ground, covered in footprints. She began to look for her brothers, her family who needed to wear the nettle clothing to be free from the curse, ones whom she shared happy dreams with. She saw her dear brothers in the distance. Elijah fell to her knees and finally started to puke up the thing everyone else was vomiting. The lake ripples gently, as if a number of swans just took flight. Trivia. Dream of a black swan is the first abnormality that summons another to breach instead of escaping from the containment itself. Suppressing the sister does not count towards disciplinary mission, purpose of pain 2, being treated as a separate entity from the abnormality. Despite being humans, dream of a black swan is classified as animals in a subject classification, referring to the sister instead. This abnormality is likely a reference to the fairy tale The Six Swans, which tells of a young girl who, after her brothers are magically turned into swans, makes clothing of nettle to lift her brother's curse. However, instead of the brothers, it's the sister that's been turned into a swan. Spoilers. The abnormality story may serve as a metaphor or a direct parallel for the smoke war and its negative effects for the citizen of the city or the Corp that preceded Lobotomy Corporation, whose methods of producing energy created thick smoke that had strange effects on those that it made contact with. This is all but confirmed in Library of Rowena, where Dream of a Black Swan's abnormality background utilizes the iconic imagery of the smoke war. When using the eagle weapon, it's possible for an agent to reflect damage back to punishing bird, counting as damage towards it, triggering its attack. First of all, I am very creeped out by this abnormality. Of course, when the first time I saw it, I'm like, why are there 5 boys in a containment unit and they're like all the same looking group, like the same hair, wearing the same clothes? It's like the same feeling you feel when you look at like the men in black with the same sunglasses and all, and the same drip. I don't like it. It's unsettling as hell. And then I started to work on this abnormality. One of the brothers on the left melted, and I'm like, yeah, this is not good for me. But turns out this dream of a black swan abnormality does not really reach out that often. Like, unless you have abnormalities walking about that turns their cleave-off into 0, or other means that will make this abnormality's cleave-off counter turn into 0, then there is no way this abnormality will quote-unquote reach out. Because it's the sister that comes out, right? But anyway, I didn't even put 2 and 2 together when one day Dream of a Black Swan breached. I'm like, they're still inside their little containment unit. What do you mean they're breaching? Oh, that's the Black Swan. I actually have no idea about the origin for this story, which is the fairy tale of the 6 swans. Maybe I'll look into that later on, because it sounds interesting. So the abnormality is actually the sister. I'm still so confused. Just look at the animations for this abnormality. It's just unsettling. I don't like it. I have also heard about somebody in my chat who is also part of my Patreon, Francis. He did got somebody equipped with the ego weapon from this abnormality, and then the punishing bird started attacking that person with the ego weapon, and then it counted as damage towards it, right? So in the end, that person just immediately, died from the bird, because when it goes red, it's over, This is why you were supposed to be kind to the bird. But how would you know? How would you know that the little umbrella that you equipped onto your agent is going to do that to the tiny bird? But aside from that, I don't really like this abnormality. The images is just unsettling. Like, there's a lot of things in Lobotomy Corporation that are like creepy, but this one is like, the pictures, the imagery, the animation of the sprites just unsettles me to no end. But I do still keep them around though, because they're actually very good at training your agents for instinct, insight, and repression work. So I still keep this guy around even though they're kinda creepy. Now, if you have tips or interesting details about this abnormality, please comment about it down below. If you like, you can also catch my stream on Twitch and here on YouTube, so you can assist me if you're a veteran in the game. If you want more Project Moon content from me, please don't hesitate to like the video. You can also support me further with my Patreon. Also, don't forget to subscribe. I'd like to thank my current Patreon supporters that are shown on the screen, as well as my Twitch subscribers. I want to always let you know that I appreciate everything you do for me. Truly. This thanks is also extended to you currently watching. Anyway, until next time, I hope you rest easy.